Hi everyone, welcome back to Colleen's Cozy Corner and welcome back to WIP Wednesday. I'm very sorry about missing last week's posting and kind of being off schedule a little bit these past 2 weeks. My shift has been changing a little bit at work, so I kind of was running out of time to film, and then I've had some exciting things going on in my personal life, so I just didn't have too much time to film. But I'm back on schedule, back on track, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So let's get right into the WIPs. I did give a little community tab post update, but obviously I feel like you don't get the full effect of the video actually seeing my progress, so I'm excited to be back filming today. Starting off with the gray blanket, as always, just chugging along. This is about how much is left, so I should be able to finish this probably within the week, at least this skein. The border is going to be a big undertaking just because of how big this blanket is. So hopefully by next week I at least have this light gray color finished, and then I can start on the dark gray color sometime this week. But just chugging along on this like I've been this whole time. Next we have my headscarf. So this is my progress on it. It is not too much progress. I'm not gonna lie, I have been kind of struggling working with this yarn. It gets very tangled very easy, and it's a lot thinner of a yarn than I'm used to working with. So I've been kind of struggling to work with it. I feel like it also isn't really looking as nice. I don't know if it's just like for now or what. And I keep for some reason thinking that I'm skipping a stitch, but I don't think I am. I don't know, it's really hard to tell, but I've been kind of struggling with this. I just think the yarn texture and thickness is a lot different than I'm used to working with. So I've just been like struggling a little bit. I kind of need to cake this as well because it's really getting very tangled in my bag. And like I said, I believe in the first time I mentioned this, how I had that little issue where I was originally crocheting the opposite way, and when I tried to take it out, it wouldn't pull. So I fear that's gonna happen with this, and obviously I don't want to lose this much yarn. I'm working on this one. I kind of did take a little bit of a break from this one because I was feeling, the last time I worked on it, I was a little bit like frustrated by it because I felt like the yarn was so thin, but I'll pick it back up this week hopefully, and just keep going along with it. I think it just looks like I'm shortening each row, but I don't think I actually am. I just hope that this one comes out okay. I just fear that it's gonna get on, like, if I make a mistake, I'm not gonna be able to undo anything, and then it's just gonna become like an abandoned project, which I don't want because I do really like the colors. I really like how it's striping up. I also do kind of like that it's not really a regular striping pattern, because you can see here it goes like that dark to a lighter to almost like a pink, back to the dark lighter to a white, and then to this lighter gray, lighter brown again. It didn't go back to this dark brown, so it isn't a regular striping pattern, which I kind of like. I think it'll look really cool built up, not perfectly striped. But yeah, just struggling with this one a little bit, but I'll get back to it this week. We have a little visitor. Okay, and he's gone. He didn't want to visit for too long. All right, so our most exciting update, I have a finished project. So I did finally finish this elephant Stuffie, and I did really struggle with these ending parts. With the hands in particular, I really struggled with. I was having a very hard time making these hands. I just feel like towards the base of the hand, kind of similar to the trunk, it just gets so tiny that it's just very hard to work. It's hard to get the hook in and stuff. I noticed that the lady I was watching, she kind of like crochets down into her project, where I guess I kind of crochet up, if that makes sense. So she was having a bit easier time going this way than I was, like kind of coming up, if that makes sense. It's all finished. I'm very happy. I think it came out really cute. I think the eyes might not necessarily be even. I don't know that I necessarily sewed everything on as even as it should be, but it's cute. It's really my first time making any kind of like stuffed animal type thing. So for my first time doing that, I think it came out really cute. I do really like it. I think the ears are a little bit big, but I do kind of like that they roll in on themselves. They do seem a little bit big for the proportions of the elephant, but it's really, really cute. I mean, and it's a cute just little blanket too. Like a little security blanket, you know. This is just a granny square. Definitely came out cute. I think I could do better the next time I do some kind of stuffed animal thing. Like, for example, I definitely think I could have stuffed the head a little bit more. And maybe stuffed, like the trunk is very stuffed, but I think I could have stuffed the other pieces a little bit more. I have a little bit of B-roll that I'll put here as well that's just a little bit closer up. But I'm really excited. I'm happy I finally finished this. This was definitely taking me a long time. Like I said, working on the appendages was very difficult for me because it's my first time doing something like this. The head wasn't so bad because it's a little bit bigger, where like the trunk and the arms, since they get so tiny up at the top, it just was a little difficult. But I'm proud of myself, and now I have this skill. I could use this in a future project. I think the biggest thing that I learned doing this project is how to decrease, because like I mentioned when I said I wanted to make the cookie pillows, I don't know how to decrease. I don't know if for that project it would be the same way to decrease, but I did learn how to do it here. So you have to you do a regular crochet, and then you do a crochet into 2 of the same loop. So you would go in, pull through, go in, pull through, and then pull through all of it. So if that's how you decrease for any project, then I did learn how to do that, which is something I never knew how to do. I just kind of assumed you would skip a stitch, which I guess would kind of look silly in a completed work because there would kind of be a lot of holes, I guess. So I'm glad I learned that. I'm glad I did this. It really did turn out cute. Yeah, I'll link those videos again down in the description that I followed. The lady who did it was really great at doing a step-by-step, because I feel like a lot of tutorials, they'll kind of teach you the skill. Like, for example, the ears or even the arms, since there's 2 of them. I feel like a lot of videos would just show you how to make one of them and be like, okay, go make another one. Where in this video, she was like, okay, we made 1 ear, now let's go make the other ear. She wasn't as detailed the second time explaining how to do it, but she did still walk through the process and be like, okay, for the first row, you're gonna do a magic circle and 6 crochets. Okay, for row 2, you're gonna do a single crochet into each one of those. For row 3, you're gonna do 1 single and then 2 into the next. So she did still walk through it, even after she had completed the one, which I really liked, because it was really a sit down and crochet with me. Depending on your speed with crocheting, you could either speed up the video or slow it down, and you could really do a stitch for stitch with her, which is kind of what I was doing, definitely with these appendages here, because that is what I really struggled with. With the blanket, I was able to just, once I learned how to do it, turn it off and I was good. But with these, I really did stitch for stitch for all 5 of them. So happy this is finished. When I next see my aunt and my new cousin, I will be able to give this to them finally. I think it turned out super cute. I can't wait to make more stuffed animals of some sorts. I don't know if I'll necessarily make another one of these, because I feel like these are very baby specific. You wouldn't really I don't think I would make this for myself, as cute as it is. But I know my dad's been wanting some stuffed animals for a very long time, for 10 years. He's been asking me to make him. We watch Doctor Who together, and he has asked me multiple times for me to crochet I think we're at 14 doctors. At the time, it was only 10 doctors, and he wanted me to crochet all of them. So maybe that'll be a little series, crocheting all the doctors. That will be... At least that won't be that difficult, because once you make the body, it's all good. I would just have to learn how to then make little clothing. I think what I really want to work on next is honing the skill so that I don't have to watch a tutorial. So for example, even though I did make a head, make arms, obviously the doctors don't need ears or a trunk, but I did make things that would be used in other projects. However, I do not feel confident just making them on my own. Like, I would not feel confident just right now starting to make a head for another stuffed animal. I would have to watch a tutorial on how to do it. Even though I get the concept of the increasing and then the decreasing, I need to kind of set time aside to do trial and error for myself. Or even if I'm doing a project that doesn't necessarily have a tutorial, I need to have more time to be able to trial and error how big I want the head to be compared to the body, compared to the arm. So I really need to work on that if I do undertake crocheting all the doctors. I think I would want to try doing that without a tutorial on how to crochet a person's body. It would just take a lot of trial and error for me, I think, to get the head shape and like the body and arm shape right, let alone learning how to make clothing for little stuffed animals. But that's something for a different project. That's all I have for this week. I'm down to just 2 projects right now. I might be starting a third. I have to see. But definitely have these 2 projects going right now. I think I also want to have a little bit more complicated of a project going on. Obviously, the blanket and the scarf are just kind of back and forth. There's nothing that interesting about them. No offense to these projects, but I'm just doing double crochet back and forth. I'm not really learning anything new. Other than with this one, I'm learning how to work with a new yarn. But other than that, I'm not doing anything different than I've done in past projects. With this one, I was learning new skills. This might also sound shocking. This was the first time I ever made a granny square. I know it's kind of like, you know, in a blanket form, but this is the first time I ever made a granny square pattern. My first time making any kind of appendages or anything stuffed. The ears are very similar to making a coaster, so I kind of had a little experience doing this. Like, these were definitely the easiest appendages for me, but I was learning how to do something new, which I really enjoyed, and I think I want to, if I don't do something that's learning a new skill, I definitely want to do something more challenging. I kind of want to do another tapestry. I do kind of miss that, like having the little guide to follow, so I might start a tapestry, but this time I want to try Integra, I'll put the word here because I don't know how to say it, but I want to try that kind of crochet. Like I mentioned, for my 21 pilots, for the scarf and for the cape thing that I made, I did carry my yarn, and I don't really love how it looks poking through, like in the black section, seeing red poke through. I don't really love that. So with Intarsia, or whatever it's called, each section would have its own ball of yarn. If I could find like a picture of what it's like, I'll put it here. But let's just say, for example, this side is white, this side is black, this side is back to white. I would have 3 balls of yarn, 2 white and 1 black. So I'm not ever carrying my yarn, I'm just dropping it, but then when I get to the next row, it's still there. So I think I want to try that next for some kind of tapestry. But like I said, with any projects that I start with this channel, I will be documenting them as I go. And then once I complete that project, I'll have a full video up probably on Mondays to show that whole process from start to finish. And obviously you'll get little updates during WIP Wednesday, but yeah, stay tuned. We'll see next week what project I decide to start. I think it's going to be a tapestry, which technically isn't a new skill, but I am going to try a new technique to see if that works better for me than carrying my yarn. But thanks again for joining. So glad I finally finished this stuffed animal. I was definitely getting frustrated with these appendages at the end, but it's all done. And I think it turned out really cute for my first ever stuffed animal type thing. So thanks for watching and see you next week. Bye!